Hello students, today we will study English class 4. Our chapter is Helen Keller. Okay students, I will tell you this story. It was the summer of 1880. A healthy baby girl was born in a small town in Alabama. Her parents loved her dearly and named her Helen Keller. But one day the baby became ill, and day after day her fever stayed high. Everyone in the family tried to help her to get better, but all they could say was, "There is nothing more we can do. The baby may not live." Okay, this was the story of summer 1880. A healthy baby, her name was Helen Keller. Okay, and she was born in a small town in Alabama. Her parents loved her so much, but one day what happened? Baby became ill, and day by day her fever stay high. Everyone in the family members tried to help that baby to get better, but no one could do something for her. All they could say is, "There is something wrong and we can't do anything. Maybe this baby will not live long." Helen lived, but she was not the same after her illness. "Something is very wrong," her mother said. At last, they found out what was wrong. The child could not see or hear. Then, after death, Helen lived, okay? But she was not the same after her illness, and her mother found what was the wrong. Finally, they found that uh, that the child was not that the child was could not see or hear. The baby grew into a little girl. Her parents felt sorry for her. Helen often cried and held on to her mother. Give the poor child was Give the poor child that she wants, her father would say. Then gradually that baby grew up into a little girl. Her, her parents was very sorry for her because she could not see and could not hear. Okay? And that little girl used to cry with her mother. Give the poor child that she wants, her father would say. Though Helen could not hear or see, she was a bright little girl. Some people thought Helen could not learn anything. Her mother did not agree. "Helen is very smart," she said, and added, "The problem is how we how can we reach her? She is locked up inside herself." Helen began to grow wild. She would not let anyone comb her hair. Though Helen could not see or hear, but she was very smart and bright little girl. Some of the people says like that she could not be learn anything because she could not see. But her parents did not agree in all these things, and they says like that that Helen is very smart girl, and she said added, the problem is that how can we reach her because she locked herself in the room. And slowly Helen began to grow wild. She became so irritated because she is not very mingled up with the peoples, and she is not try to interact with the peoples. That's why she become wild. She never let anyone comb her hair also. Her clothes were always dirty. She was often angry. Sometimes she even lay on the floor and kicked her feet. Helen's clothes were always dirty. She was often angry, and sometimes what happened, she kicked her feet also. Her parents thought that they should find a teacher for her. Miss Sullivan, a young teacher, agreed to help Ellen to learn see the world. Miss Sullivan gave Helen a doll. Doll spells doll. She spelled the word with her fingers into Helen's hand. She made the letters with special hand signs. Then her parents had decided to bring a good teacher for her. So finally, they brought a teacher named Sullivan. She is very young, and she agreed to help Ellen to teach everything. And that teacher gave one doll, and she taught the spell of dolls also through the fingers with a special shines. Helen copied her teacher and spelled doll too. But she did not understand what she was doing. Helen, like Miss Sullivan, she was strict but kind. She spelled a lot of words for Helen on her hands day and night to make Helen understand. So Helen imitated her teachers. Whatever she does, she always copied her teachers, and she copied that spell of doll. Okay, but she did not understand what her teachers is doing because she could not see. That's why Helen liked his teacher. Sorry, her teacher. But the character of her teacher was like that. She was strict, but she is kind and good. And she spelled lots of words for Helen's so that she can gradually understand. One day, her teacher made Helen put her hand into running water. Then she spelled water. Suddenly, Helen understood that water meant something wet running over her hands. So one day what happened, her teacher made her, Helen, put her hands into the running water. Okay, then she taught her spell of water. Then she realized that water means something like that, weight or running over her hands. She understood that words were the most important things in the world. Words would tell her everything she wanted to know. Now she understood that words were the most important things in the world. That in world, words are the most important things. Words would tell her everything she wanted to know. So students, this is the story of Helen Keller. She was blind, okay, she could not see and hear, but her teacher made her understood everything. Students, let's start our exercise. Question number 1. Something is wrong, said Helen's mother. What was wrong with Helen? Answer is she could not see or hear. Although Helen could not hear or see, what kind of girl she was? Or was she? She was a bright little girl who agreed to help Helen. Miss Sullivan, a young teacher, agreed to help Helen. How did Miss Sullivan help Helen? Miss Sullivan taught Helen many words with the help of special hand signs. She made her understand the importance of words. What did Helen learn when the teacher put her hand into the running water? Helen understood that water meant something wet running over her hand. What was the most important thing that Helen finally understood? Finally, Helen understood that words were the most important things in the world. Words who tell her everything she wanted to know. So students, this chapter has completed. Now you can copy from here. Okay? Thank you.